Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the B&H Virtual Event Space. I am very happy to welcome back to the virtual event space Jason Vong and Vivienne Lee. Jason, Vivienne, how you doing today?
Good.
Very good.
We're glad to be back, glad to be sharing and yet another amazing topic on our end, vlogging. And if you guys tuned into some of the previous lives we did with B&H, we are now in New York. So yeah, so it's gonna be really fun.
Yeah.
Got an amazing background right now. I wish we could show you guys the sunset that's gonna be going down, but it's a little too bright right now.
Awesome. Well, we're super stoked to have you. Welcome to New York. You know, that's exciting too. You know, we were talking about it in the virtual green room. They're going to be talking about getting started with vlogging, a topic that I love. I have a really bad habit of watching too many vlogs, I think. So I'm super excited to hear about getting started with it. I know I've thought about starting a vlog before, and I know it can be difficult and scary. Nobody wants to see my vlog. Don't worry, Vivienne. I'm not stealing any.
There's always an audience.
Yes. Well, by the end of it, you will start a vlog channel. We'll make sure that happens, right, chat?
All right. I'm gonna hold you both to it. So I want to thank our sponsors over at Sony for setting this up with Jason and Vivienne. But if you have any questions for them and you want to know anything related to vlogging or what they're using gear-wise, any of that stuff, any question that's applicable, we'd love to get it over to them. So don't hesitate, drop them in as they come and we'll get them over to them as we can. Use the Q&A tab here on Zoom. Otherwise, if you're joining us on Facebook or Vimeo, you can go ahead and use the comment section. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at BH Event Space. We're always looking for followers. We like interacting. We want fame. We want fortune and fame. No, we just want people to interact with us and let us know what they want to see. So check us out there. But otherwise, Jason, Vivienne, thanks for being here. I'm going to hand the torch over to you, and I'll be here watching.
Okay, awesome. Well, I guess should we introduce ourselves for those of the folks who don't know us? So my name is Jason Vong, and this is Vivienne, and together we run a YouTube channel dedicated to hybrid shooting. And hybrid shooting is just a fancy way of someone who likes to take both photos and videos, and we like to provide tutorials around that: photography, videography, and vlogging. So our primary system that we use to do all of this stuff with is, of course, with the Sony cameras. And
pointing at it because we're using it right now.
Yeah. We're actually using an A7S III right now with a 24G Master for all of this. And yeah, I mean, that's how I personally got started with my channel. And we would love to kind of share with you guys how we got started, how we built our YouTube channel, and how we built sort of our vlogging community today on this presentation or conversation.
And it's really interesting because I think we started the channel in like 2016. So it's been about 6 years. And I mean, I think it's really brought us a lot of really cool opportunities. And that's what we're here to kind of share for people who are really interested in doing that. We'll definitely go into that because it's kind of led to our venture right now. And right now we're kind of doing this whole digital nomad, traveling around for a year kind of thing. So it's just really interesting to see kind of where we started and just kind of how it brought us to where we are today.
Yes.
That was a little bit about our channel. So yeah, we want to kind of detail how you got started. And it was in 2016, you picked up your first Sony camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the things that, you know, in terms of getting started with vlogging is almost like, you know, what is finding your niche, right? Finding your niche and kind of fostering that curiosity. So personally, did we talk about what is a vlog?
No, we can definitely go into that.
Yeah, let's talk about what is a vlog first. That way, like, it makes a little more sense. So you want to?
I like to throw this photo up.
Thank you for having this mid-action shot of me.
It's such a flattering photo of Jason, isn't it? But essentially, a lot of people, I think when you think of a vlog, you're kind of thinking there's a guy running around with this big camera set up, a shotgun mic on a tripod, just kind of running around, gesturing at the camera, talking. But we kind of wanted to break apart that misconception and just kind of say that a vlog could be a lot more than that. So a vlog is essentially, we like to say, it's a combination of a video and a blog. It's a blog in a video format, and it could be about whatever you want. You could talk to the camera. You don't have to talk to the camera. You can shoot it indoors. you can be running around outside too as well. But essentially it's whatever you want, as long as you're kind of sharing and fostering that curiosity and, you know, sharing more with your community and your niche.
So one of some of the examples that we want to give you guys is that, again, it's not all about running outside with a camera, with a microphone. A vlog, again, it's just a video and a blog. So there's a lot of like these different formats, these different channels on YouTube. There are things like movie review channels, TV show review channels, where they would review an episode of the latest, hottest TV show at the end of every episode.
Yes.
And, you know, they're just sharing their excitement, or they're just sharing like little fun tips and behind the scenes or whatever, you know. And that's one way to approach it. And they don't have to ever show their face. They can just do a voiceover, grab clips from the show, and just sort of interlace that. And if you don't want to talk and you don't want to show your face, what's funny is that Vivienne also enjoys these types of vlogs where they don't even talk at all.
Yeah, I think with, you know, with the pandemic happening, there was a lot of shift in like a lot of people staying at home, and then a lot of like new content started coming out around people just at home kind of doing their everyday tasks. Some of my favorite channels are people just cooking, gardening, like cleaning, and a lot of these videos are video overlaid with some music, and they're kind of telling a story in text. You know, they kind of put captions, and it just kind of helps to narrate kind of what they're doing. And in like the text, they kind of share their stories. And never once, I don't think I know what a single one of these people look like that I watch, which is so funny. I know what their house looks like, but I have no idea what they look like. And I think it's just like kind of showing that there's just so many different types of videos out there, and you can do whatever makes you like the most comfortable.
Yeah. So kind of going back to that first image, you know, how we personally got started was that I think around 2016, Sony cameras weren't at their peak popularity yet. And, you know, not a lot of reviews, not a lot of tutorials were out around the Sony cameras. And I was just kind of looking for a system that kind of fits my needs. I wasn't exactly a professional at it, but I noticed that there weren't many reviews or tutorials out. So what I did was I posted my user experience, how I used the camera and how it worked out for me. And slowly but surely, you know, I gained like a community of following people who were interested in learning more. And yeah, that's pretty much how I got started. You know, that was my niche going into it, and how I foster curiosity through these vlogs is just simply, you know, sharing my experience and how the system works out for me. So just kind of give you guys an idea of how many different types of vlog style that are out there that you can try to approach for yourself.
So we kind of touched on a couple of things, and we want to kind of break things down in the sense of like what kind of vlogs like should you make. So essentially what we like to say a vlog is you want to find your niche, find what you're passionate about, what makes you like happy, what you want to explore more, and then you want to foster and build on that curiosity, you know, whether it's with yourself or with your audience. And through that, you build a community, and you kind of keep engaging with that community. And that's how I want to say builds out, you know, the kind of vlogs that are out there.
Yeah, so I think we should I kind of want to talk about this one YouTube channel that we like to watch.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
A couple months ago. So there's this channel called Defunctland, and they have these video essays kind of revolving around Disneyland. Yeah, Disneyland, theme parks, you know, these very interesting hotels as well. So one video that we sort of, the first video that we saw from this channel was—
how do we even find it?
An idea on fast passes. Our cousin shared that. My cousin shared that with us. And one of the titles was, you know, Fast Pass, the history of Fast Pass, or something like that.
Or
right?
like why Fast Pass don't work or something.
And it's just so interesting. And that's how they sort of foster curiosity, right? They were curious about it, and they wanted to share that with an audience of people. And that certainly got our attention. And their niche, what we just talked about, you know, they focus on theme parks. They focus on sort of like the history of theme parks. And over time, I think his channel it might be like 8 years old now.
Yeah.
And he really built up that community because he's just so focused on that niche and creating these topics around various theme parks and Disneyland. So
it's really funny because it's like, that wasn't even a topic people would really think about, or like we had thought about. And we personally didn't even feel like we were in that niche, right? Like we were not. We like going to theme parks, like they're kind of fun, but did we ever say we were like theme park enthusiasts? Like not necessarily, but just the idea of him kind of really diving into this idea about fast passes just made us really fascinated too as well. And it kind of fed into this curiosity we also had. And it's just interesting because it's like, he has a channel that's kind of focused around like theme parks, but on the other end of the spectrum, there are also a lot of vlog channels dedicated to like theme parks too as well, but it's like very different. Those are maybe like Disneyland vlogs, people going to theme parks, enjoying it, like kind of like your typical style vlog.
Yeah.
But this guy took it in a very different direction, which
it's
is
all narration.
Yeah.
He never has to show his face. And I forgot to mention that video was like over an hour long, and we just consumed the whole thing. It's like, it wasn't
really
even
good.
planned. Like, you think about it, you go to a movie and you're just like, yeah, I'm going to sit there and for 3 hours just to watch a movie. It's like, no, this video just popped up. And we're like, well, this looks interesting. I'll just watch it for 5 minutes. And then boom, we spent like over what, an hour-ish? I forgot how long the video was.
We ended up watching it and we shared it with other people.
Yeah.
And it was just really interesting seeing like the interaction in the community, because it just really touches a lot of people. You're just kind of like, oh, I've been in a theme park. I'd love to know more about this. And then it just built upon that.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to interrupt because
Absolutely.
Kyle's asking a question that I think goes right in with this, and it's an excellent question.
Thanks, Kyle.
Gives a little context, which is great. Kyle, love it. Context. He's torn with finding a niche because he likes several different things: motorcycles, photography, so on and so forth. And he kind of wants to make content for all of them. The question is, do you have temptations to make content outside of your niche? And, you know, is that necessarily a bad idea to not find that niche?
All right.
Wow.
So Kyle, that is a fantastic question. So he was talking about motorcycle and photography, right?
Just having multiple like
There's
passions and
motorcycles, photography, 3D printing, coding.
Wow.
Wow.
That's actually really cool.
That's actually really cool. I'm almost thinking like you can just do a whole thing around just, you know, motorcycle and photography. You know, that's like one thing that you can really combine. Because I remember last year I was recommended a lot of like car videos, and like it wasn't so much as to like I was looking up cars, but because I was looking at photography and videography equipment. And there's this guy who rigged up a gimbal and a camera, and he would just shoot these really dope shots of these cars parked at a parking lot, or he would like drive these cars into the streets and we'll have another car where like he's shooting like almost like a car commercial.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like really cool, you know, and he was able to build that niche, that following, because there are people within that car community that's interested in watching, and because they're seeing this like bigger production, they're like, wow, they're really captivated by that. Not necessarily them being really interested in the cinematography aspect or like the gear aspect, but more so the cars and how well it is shot. So you can definitely combine photography and motorcycle. And another approach that I would say you can come into is just maybe start with one of those niches, right? Maybe you can talk a little bit more passionately about motorcycles and photography, but as it expands on, you know, start sprinkling in your personality in these vlogs. You know, I think one of the things that I was talking to Vivienne about a few years ago, maybe like 2 or 3 years into our channel, I was like, man, you know what? I should have sprinkled my personality in my videos a lot more, because I was just so like straight laced with like, yeah, these are the cameras I'm using, these are lenses, this is how it's worked out for me. But like, there wasn't really much of me inside of it, you know, like I want to share maybe like, you know, the restaurants we eat or the food we eat or whatever it is. But now we're starting to do that, you know, like another component to our channel is travel.
Yeah.
So we like to do photography, videography, vlogging, and we like to also incorporate the food that we eat and the travel we do. So really just getting started with just, you know, a couple niches or just one niche, and then really just sprinkle that personality. I heard something about coding.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, you know, like you kind of brought up traveling, and it's kind of interesting because that wasn't really something when we first started. It was something we were like really passionate about. And it wasn't until maybe a year or so into the channel, we were like, oh, we really love this. And we also kind of struggle with it. Like, how can we incorporate what we're really passionate about within like photography and videography? And, you know, Jason brought a good point about motorcycles, photography. You know, we personally think if you're really passionate about something and you can use that to fuel something else that you're passionate about, I think that's a really great combination. You know, if you love taking photos of motorcycles specifically, like that will help keep that like drive, you know, kind of feedback loop kind of thing. You know, you're passionate about motorcycles, so you take photos of motorcycles and you love that. And it kind of feeds into like the kind of videos that you want to make. And, you know, like we kind of brought up, like for us, you know, we were like, how can we incorporate like travel into photo? And now we're starting to do that a lot more because we're really trying to interject like personality. And I think ultimately, like, with a lot of like channels and things that we watch, personality really plays like I think a really huge part
Absolutely.
in keeping, you know, your audience engaged and building your community. And, you know, as time goes on, like start to really like interject a lot about that, your personality, things that you're in, because that actually what keeps people coming back and engaged, because they kind of form almost like a relationship.
They
with
start
you.
to know who you are.
Yeah.
So that's another cool element. So thank you, Kyle, for bringing up that question, because we definitely didn't have that in that slide, but that was one really powerful thing that we would definitely want to impart.
And send us your channel when you get started. We'd love to take a look.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, keep the questions coming, Scott. I think I would love to answer questions in the middle too.
That's really cool, actually. So,
all right. So, where do we leave off?
We covered about finding your niche, and I think Kyle's question was a really great lead into that. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, we like to kind of say you don't have to be an expert in what you think your niche is. We talked about fostering curiosity, and that curiosity is not only within your audience, but also yourself, right? Like maybe you're picking up a new hobby, like let's say Kyle, you have like multiple hobbies, or you want to try coding or something. You know, those are things that you can document your journey on, just kind of learning that whole process of of learning more about it. And then you share that with your audience. So your audience also kind of grows with you and tries to also learn with you too as well.
Yeah, so just to kind of bunch that up for a bit. Again, you don't need to be an expert at a topic that you try to present. A lot of times we have our audience come up to us and they're like, oh, like, you know, I don't know photography as well as you do. I don't know videography as well as you do. How do I make a channel? And the beauty of it is you don't really have to, you know, like a lot of it is just kind of sharing that process. And what we've typically found is relatability. Relatability is the best thing that you can do for your channel, because sometimes people don't want to hear from the expert, right? They want to hear from someone who's going through the same struggle as them. So maybe, I don't know, I'm just going to throw things out there, maybe like a weight loss journey or like, you know, training or anything sort of like that, like rowboating. We hear all this kind of stuff, you know, and it's just like sharing that, you know, whatever that passion, hobby is, and, you know, noting that you're like, I'm not a professional, I'm not, you know, I'm expert at it, but I have an interest in it. These are what gets me excited about it. And this is what, you know, sort of the troubles I run into.
Yeah.
And we found out that a lot of people really resonate well when you share your journey and your struggles, because then they can really identify and connect with you too. So really keep that in mind when it comes to making your vlogs. So we were we going to say something about that?
Oh, well, I actually wanted to lead in with this because it's really funny, because, you know, we kind of talked a little about like personality, and I think it's just like for us to kind of keep our audience engaged and like talk more about it, we were starting to interject a lot more about our personality to keep things like relatable in that sense. And I think some like a really funny little skit that we did when we were actually in B&H was Jason went to go buy like another camera. And this actually did really well within like our audience, because a lot of people were like, oh, I can relate. Haha, like when I go buy cameras, like my wife does this too, or things like that. And it just kind of helps to really give a lot more of that relatability and personality within the videos that you make.
You know what was funny? I actually was shooting at the tech space at B&H Corner. I think this was like maybe
a couple years ago.
It was like 2 months, maybe just 2 months or 1 month after we released this video. And a gentleman and his wife walked up to me and was just like, I watched your video on buying stuff from B&H and I was having such a great time watching it. He was just laughing with his wife about it. So that's great that you put this clip in.
I just love this clip.
So relatability would be one that I would say is this something to keep in mind.
And then we kind of wanted to talk about like fostering curiosity. You know, there's like a journey that we're kind of sharing more about, and it's something you want to share with your viewers. You know, I think a really big shift in kind of what we started doing this year was we went kind of digital nomad. And this is something we wanted to share more about with our audience. And we are not experts on this. This is like a complete journey for us. We're kind of traveling around to different places. And in doing so, we're kind of combining our passion with making videos, making content with traveling. But in the same time, because we're also learning about what is it like to kind of hop around different places and you know, live in different spots, we're fostering that curiosity with not only ourselves, but with our audience who's actually really curious to learn more and kind of follow along on that journey.
Yeah. So kind of give you guys a little bit more idea on like like, what do we mean by fostering curiosity, right? So just based on, the thumbnail and the title of your video, what is that hook? What are those first 5 words, that first sentence, So just kind of relating back to my channel around camera gear. So we would be like, oh, Sony camera review, right? Or like, does this camera fit my need? Is this lens good? Like, what is the best vlogging setup? These are sort of like titles that foster these curiosities. These are the things that people look up and are interested in knowing. And then, having a powerful thumbnail, which is the little screenshot right before you click on the video, that draw, that hook, like clearly seeing the camera, the setup, and then seeing that title, they're like, oh, I want to click on this.
Yes.
And really, I urge you and challenge you to just sort of look at your YouTube feed right now, or like maybe TikToks or Instagram reels. Just kind of like pay attention to these screenshots, these movie posters almost, and see what makes you click, what makes you click on these videos or the titles. That's how you sort of understand, like, what are some of the things that I can do to get people to watch my video, to click on these videos. So a lot of great title suggestions and thumbnails you can learn and get an idea from watching some of your favorite channels. And oftentimes, you can just ask Vivienne, like, I would just like watch some of my favorite YouTube channels and I will like copy their thumbnail, right? It'll be like a completely different,
we're not
channel.
admitting to copying, but essentially inspiration.
Inspiration.
Think about what
straight up copy.
What makes you inspired to click on these videos? What are you curious about personally? And like, how can you take that of your own curiosity and put it within like the videos that you create?
I would do like, those like faces, like, copy those, or like the big font and the big text. So really, like, don't be afraid to just take inspiration from like your favorite channels and make your video on.
Cool. I love that, because that was actually one of the questions I wanted to know. And we talked about this prior, and I said it, when I'm going through and I feel like that's it, like the title, the image that's thrown up there, it's always like it's clickbait, right? It's like, oh, I gotta click on this. Like, I gotta see what point of the video they're going to talk about this and where they're going to, address it. And I'll watch an hour-long video just like you, just to get to that point, just to be like, oh, there it was. I got it. Excellent. So, I mean, how important is it to have those really catchy, just little kind of titles, and how do you stay creative with that? Especially when you're doing it for such an extended period of time?
That's tough. I think for us, we're always like, the title and the thumbnail are probably like the first things you should think about before you make a video. We don't necessarily follow it a lot of times because we're like, oh, we want to make the video, but a lot of people kind of say, you should have your title and you should have your thumbnail kind of thought out before you make the video, because you're really trying to figure out what like draws people in.
Not necessarily, but that is definitely a really good approach, because let's say you're like a more informational based channel, you want to talk a little bit, maybe like the latest tech or, whatever the latest news is, you want to kind of look for these sort of keywords and what people are searching for to make your video. You obviously don't want to make a video about a top, well, you can, but just kind of based on trends, like you don't want to make something that no one's really like looking up sometimes. So you want to make sure that you're like looking up these trends and then like formulate a title first, what makes people click, and then make the video. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that. I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
But just one of the techniques that you can do. And, Scott brought up something really, really interesting. Clickbait. I completely forgot about that. Clickbait. You definitely don't want to bait people into clicking your video and you're not giving them the information that they're looking for. So that's a really important thing, because that ends up hurting you on YouTube. I don't know how it is with I guess with Instagram Reels and TikTok, people would just swipe away if it doesn't.
When it's really short form content, is a little different.
It's a little different, but with YouTube, you definitely don't want people to click your video and you're not giving them the information they want and they click out of it. That ends up hurting you in the long run.
You don't want to clickbait, but you do want to draw people in.
Absolutely.
And also help to answer what they're coming to watch your video about.
Yeah, so definitely your video, the structure of your video should answer whatever it is that you put on the title.
Yeah. You can have a catchy title to get people interested.
So Click Here Now is a great title.
Well, that depends.
I don't know if people are going to
Now,
click
is
that.
that
though.
a sidebar ad or is that a YouTube video?
What if they click there and then like their computer like blows up or something?
But I mean, sometimes, you know, so, you know, it's just, there's just so many ways to do it. And we don't want to say there is one clear way to do it. And at some point you're going to realize like, oh, you know, I'm just going to put a picture of my face and put a title, and, you know, you'll find that your audience will just run and click to your video.
I mean, we play around with that all the time.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, this photo works. And we're like, no, actually, let's change it to a photo of Jason's face or something.
So Scott just asked us about like, how do we stay creative with our thumbnails and titles? And it is definitely a challenge. I would say I spend at least 3 to 4 hours just, you know, making my thumbnail, making my titles, because it's just so important, you know, like you can spend all that time at making your video, but how you package it with your title and thumbnail is equally as important. So
and like Jason kind of brought up, we were saying how like we try to get inspired by people outside of like the community, our community and our niche. You kind of brought up like that's how we kind of stay creative. You kind of grab ideas from like other channels that we see, and we're like, hey, that'd be kind of cool to kind of, I think we personally like, we like to watch like gaming channels sometimes and just kind of take little like little inspiration from their like thumbnails and stuff to kind of put into ours.
Yeah, I should clarify that too, because when I say like, you know, copy or draw inspiration from other channels, what we are talking about is like looking outside of your niche as well, because sometimes when you make a thumbnail that's exactly like someone else who creates similar content to you, people might get confused. You know, they're like, oh, I thought I'm watching someone else's video. And so for us, you know, I sometimes ask Vivienne, like, what is the latest vlog that you just watched? And it'll be something about like fashion or skincare. And I would just sit down and watch it too, because, you know, it's completely outside of my camera and travel niche, but it's just interesting to see like how people approach their format of videos. And at the same time, it's just like, what are the titles of the thumbnails that they use? So we just kind of draw inspiration from that.
Awesome. Wonderful.
Cool.
All right.
We'll talk a little bit about gear now.
That's always really fun.
All right, gear time.
So there's like, we like to kind of look for certain things when we're kind of picking up vlogging gear.
I'm just gonna go ahead and
No.
just show off Vivienne's vlogging setup right here.
I have
This, I'm sorry, am I spoiling this right
Yeah,
now? Look how adorable with the clown
You didn't
hair.
say it was adorable when I first got it. You called, you said it looked
Look
like
at
a
this
clown.
looks like this clown hair, but it's a very cute setup.
Oh, really? That was cute.
It is a cute
Thank
setup.
you. Well, we essentially like to kind of look for versatility. If it's compact, if it has a wide angle lens, so it can kind of fit your face or whatever it is that you're shooting. A flip out screen is a very big component, and eye autofocus, which are going to be in all the things that we're going to recommend. So the ZV-1, which is the one that I have here. So personally, I like to use this camera. This is my favorite for vlogging, and Sony themselves kind of put this out kind of geared towards the vlogging market. It has all the little components that, you know, we brought out. It's very versatile. It's compact. It's small, fits in a small bag, fits in a pocket as well. It is very robust. It has a flip out screen, and, you know, and it has like my little clown. I can't stop staring at the little clown thing. So the story behind that is the original mic. This is a wind guard. The original one got really dirty, and it's just really ugly.
So you just throw it in your bag.
Yeah, because it's compact. I throw it in my bag, but essentially we kind of asked our friends over at Sony we can have another one, and this is
so cute now.
This is what they gave us.
It gives this camera more character and personality.
You called it like a clown the other day. Anyways, so
So we do emphasize, like, you know, you don't need to immediately run out and get a camera right now to, you know, start shooting your vlog. Just getting started with like what you have right now, maybe a phone, whatever it is you have right now, just simply just get started with. But when you're ready to graduate to some of these cameras right here, you know, definitely consider one of this. So we were talking about the ZV-1, and there's 2 features that I do want to highlight for the ZV-1. As you might have saw earlier, I was just trying to cover our faces when we show this camera. So my A7S III doesn't have this thing called product showcase, which is a button that you can push to turn off face autofocus, so that it would just focus on whatever is closest to it. So that's one of the features that this tiny little camera has too. So if you do like maybe beauty product reviews or any sort of tech product reviews, and you're just trying to show something onto the camera, you can just press that product showcase button and boom, you have to hide your face. sideways too.
It's okay, but it's the button right here.
Yeah, so you can do that. And another cool thing is, especially, when you're picking up these cameras, it can be a little daunting with all of the settings.
Yes.
So there's another button called the background defocus button that you can just press, and it will just blur out the background for you while you talk. So the attention is much more centered on you. So the ZV-1 has all of that.
It has a component I actually really like too, which is the soft skin effect, because I personally really like it, because if you're kind of shooting your face, it kind of helps to soften your skin slightly if you have like little blemishes or imperfections here or there. And it's subtle, it's really nice. And this camera also has it. So I really think when they released this, it really was with like the kind of vlogging demographic in mind.
Yeah. So there's another one called the ZV-E10 that Sony just launched, I believe, last year. So this one is almost like a bigger brother, bigger sister to the ZV-1.
Yes.
This one allows you to change out your lenses. So it has everything that we talked about for the ZV-1, right? The product showcase, the background defocus. So now think of this as like, okay, I want a slightly, better quality, higher quality.
A little bit more versatility.
More versatility.
Yeah.
So you can swap out the lens. So the one that we have right here is your standard kit lens. But let's just say like, oh no, I want something, a little bit wider. I want to show a little bit more of the scene, like right here. You can actually swap out to a Sony 10-18 f4 lens, which is the lens that you have right here. Or if you're just like, I kind of want to show more of, the distance, the mountain, whatever it is that you're trying to showcase in your video, you can pick up a different lens, maybe like a long, nice little telephoto lens that you can attach to the ZV-E10.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, this is our personal pick if you shoot APS-C, which we also think is a really great system to also pick up. If you already have it now, just kind of getting one of these lenses to kind of attach to it so you can kind of start vlogging. It's really just a lot more versatile.
Yeah, I would also recommend this for a full frame setup as well. The trick to it is this lens, you just have to zoom in about 12 millimeter on it, and it'll work on the full frame camera setups as well too. Plus, the major advantage, I think, with this lens and any sort of body combo that you get with the Sony cameras, it's just nice, lightweight, and compact. A lot of people think like, oh, I want the bigger setup to vlog with, but they'll slowly kind of find out that, if you're holding a camera for like a long period of time, it will get pretty tiring. Of course, if you do a home setup, it's a completely different story. Go ahead, use the bigger camera, use the bigger lenses if you want to, but at the same time, there are these versatility options that are out there. Yeah. And this is one of my favorite lenses to vlog with, the 14G Master. A little bit of an overkill, but this is a nice one for full frame users. If you're interested in that f1.8, the background blur on this is like really, really amazing. And here it is with the A7C, a good full frame compact setup, actually, if you want to use that for vlogging.
You want to go with a little, a little bit of a bigger setup. You can also, if you're not really just also shooting, you can also mount it on a gimbal and shoot video with that too as well.
It's a little, maybe a little too intense for some of the folks out there, but yes, you can do that too.
Yeah. And of course, if you want to go with a lot more of this range, there's also the 16-35 too as well.
Very versatile. Now, for those of you guys who watch me on YouTube, obviously, or you're very versed with Sony lenses, there is the G Master f2.8 option. But again, this one is something that we can highly recommend just because it is a much lighter setup. Yeah. And it's just easier to hold.
Exactly. And of course, we were kind of mentioning that you don't have to necessarily go out and, pick up a whole new camera or setup for vlogging, especially if you're really getting started. We always say kind of what you have in your pocket is really great. And we personally have been using our mobile phone, the Xperia Pro I, for a lot of our vlogs. We actually just uploaded one on our second channel recently that was shot entirely on this. We find this is really compact. It fits, it's a phone essentially, but it serves really well. It has an amazing camera too as well. And it's versatile, it's compact. It has a 16 millimeter and a 24 millimeter lens as well as a 50 in there. So it has a lot of range on that end. And there's this additional little accessory that you can get, which is the vlog monitor. It only works with this phone, but essentially it kind of puts a screen in the front. So when you are on the back, So when you're shooting, you could use the really good cameras that are, with the Sony sensor, and you can, I'm gonna cover my eyes, and you can see yourself through there.
The face tracking on the A7S III is just too good. So we're just trying to hide and show the setup right here. But you can see it from the little slideshow that we have. Look at that. you look so cute.
Thanks. Yeah, it's really versatile. I just feel like when we have it, we are able to kind of pull it out more often when we want to like capture little moments. Let's say sometimes we don't necessarily bring like the bigger cameras around with us all the time. Or for example, like when we're shooting like inside, we're just like don't want to draw too much attention
a little bit more
to
discreet.
as well. Yeah, we just kind of pull it out and we're able to really capture some really great video with this too as well.
Yeah, so I lost my train of thought. Good stuff.
But overall, we're just trying to basically say that, you know, you can use definitely what you have now, just really start getting accustomed to like making that video. And, you know, and then if you want to look into upgrading, those are our recommendations.
Yeah, this is really nice to have, because when we were in, you know, the background that you're seeing right now, we were in Paris. So we would put in a, I guess, not a foreign SIM. Is it a foreign SIM?
A SIM card.
A SIM card, a foreign SIM card. And we would just, oh man, the sun's peeking in. And we would be able to use this, you know, dial and call and then vlog at the same time. So it's just really nice, just something a little bit more versatile in case you're looking for the phone that can do it also. Look into the Xperia Pro I. If you have any sort of gear questions too, please let us know in the chat.
So great segue. Excellent. I'm glad you threw it up because I was just about to interrupt you guys. so excellent. Jason ran away. He's like, I was just
interrupt away. Jason's like, bye.
I didn't want to get involved with that to begin with. So let's start off. Let's talk about, you know, you're talking about some cameras. A ZV-1 is obviously going to eat up in terms of memory and storage space a lot less than something like an A7 III, an A7R, A7S. Some of those cameras. Talk a little bit, if you can, about your storage process. You know, how do you store files? How do you ensure, you know, obviously nowadays storage is accessible, and, you know, getting an external device is a lot more affordable than it used to be, say 10 years ago, when it would cost $300-400 for a gigabyte of space, or even a terabyte, I should say. But how do you go about that? Do you keep everything backed up on external units? Do you use the cloud? Are you using like Google Photos? What's your process for Vivienne's laughing because she's like, oh, we just delete it all.
Well, no, we
destroy all the evidence.
We actually
destroy it. Get it.
No, but we actually have like a whole bunch of, it's really funny because we actually just ran into like a whole storage issue too as well. So we can definitely chime in on that.
So first off, I do, for anyone that's just getting started, don't let that overwhelm you. Okay. First off, don't let that overwhelm you. So when it comes to shooting vlogs, go ahead and shoot in HD 1080p. You don't have to go the whole mile 4K. All right. You don't have to do 4K. I've seen plenty of successful YouTube channels where they're uploading just still in 1080p, because a lot of it is that people are still watching it on small devices like this, like a phone. So then you don't really have to go the whole mile shooting in 4K or 8K or anything like that. Now, of course, if that's something that you're interested in, definitely do that. So to answer the question, you know, yes, we do shoot a lot of 4K content on our YouTube channel, and I back everything up. I do back everything up. So for us right now, because we are traveling, it's hard for me to get back to my NAS system at home, bigger hard drives, you know. So what I'm doing right now is sort of, I'm bringing with me the Lacy hard drives.
Yes.
So then I bought like I have like 2 of them right now, like a 5
just
terabyte,
got another one.
a 5 terabyte and a 4 terabyte. And I would just kind of store all of the video files and the photo files into these hard drives until I get home and be able to offload it to my even bigger drive. And like Scott said, you know, the storage nowadays is a lot more affordable. I think with 5 terabytes, the hard drive ended up costing me like what, about $180 on B&H. So it's not too bad if you think about it in the grand scheme of things. For 5 terabytes, you can back up your all of your videos. So yeah, that's how we approach our little storage solution.
Yeah, we have everything on these little hard drives. And then you kind of mentioned cloud-based and things like that.
Cloud-based?
Yeah.
Cloud.
Dropbox, Google Drive, that's cloud-based.
Man, I don't even know what lives in my cloud right now. Those are definitely really handy, but I don't store a lot. I would only use cloud-based for like if I'm sharing some, like videos with an editor. But for the most part, I like having everything just sort of like wired in somewhere, so I can just kind of dump all of my photo and video files in.
Great. Now, You mentioned kind of something on my second question that I was going to ask, which was resolution based. So you already knocked that out of the park. You said
Yay!
you can shoot the 1080 instead of the 4K.
Got you covered.
Yeah, but curveball. You ready for it? Here we go.
Oh,
So I did
that's a
notice
hard question.
in your video, it's not such a hard question. Don't worry. I'm not an investigative journalist over here. But
Right.
I did see in some of your videos, just on the clips and the icons, you're showing that you're shooting some of the video, maybe all the video in 24p. And I just kind of wanted to get your viewpoint on that. Obviously, it's definitely a user kind of preference, I'll say. But is there a recommendation for somebody who's maybe getting started and this is the first venture into a blog? Obviously you probably want to keep things seamless across the whole entire page, and things will always evolve and it'll never happen completely. But 24p, 30p, 60p, pros, cons, absolute nevers. What are your feelings and thoughts on those?
So I would say anyone who is getting started right now, if you're just kind of, getting caught up with the whole frame rates, I would say probably start off with 30 frames per second. I think a lot of cameras nowadays are able to do it at that frame rate. And that's generally what's recommended when it comes to internet videos, 30 frames per second.
Yep.
Now, if you hear something like, oh, you got to shoot 24 frames per second for the most cinematic look. I mean, like, yes, a lot of us, including myself, do shoot in the 24 frames per second video, and then we edit it in that timeline as well. And that's because that gives us a lot more flexibility when it comes to shooting at a higher frame rate and slowing it down. So when you hear people generally like the 24 frames per second for the more cinematic look, it's because then we can shoot in 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second, and just slow it down for those buttery smooth slow motion. But again, if that's something that's not within your niche, you're just like, I just want my video to look good, I don't care too much about slow motion, start off with 30 frames per second.
I always have mine at 30.
At 30 frames per second. Now, some folks, I think some cameras also default to 1080p 60 frames per second as well. And I know 60 frames per second videos look very, very smooth. And that's an option that you can play with as well. And we've attempted that a few times. We try to shoot 4K 60 frames per second and just kind of upload it in that format as well. And it looks really good. The motion is just really smooth. So I would say it just kind of depends. If you want to like upload in 60 frames per second, it just depends like what kind of videos that you're making, especially if you're doing like a little bit more, maybe more action stuff, and you really want that smooth look, or if you know that your audience is watching it on a big screen TV, that's where the 60-second, frame rate might come into play that you might want to choose to upload in. But generally, I would say if you're just getting started, 30 frames per second, but there is no wrong answer to it. You can shoot whatever you think looks the best.
Awesome. And now we're gonna just go straight for it. Here you go. You ready? It's right here. It's right in front of our face. So I love that you stopped on this slide. Let's talk audio, because you can't just do video. You've got to address the audio. And I'm always one for, you could always watch a bad video with great audio versus
That's true. That's actually really true.
Jason's like, why, that meme, why you do this to me? Come on. But to talk audio, how do you feel about audio? Obviously, you've got some mics, you've got the little windscreens and stuff like that.
I'll be very honest, Jason's a big stickler for really good audio.
I am, and the reason why I was just kind of face palming right now is because, so we talked about our second channel where we kind of document our whole digital nomadic adventures, right? So then our third video, I kid you not, I just botched my audio settings. Like, it was just too loud. It was just the level was just
bad.
No, it wasn't windy. It was just peaking. It was just loud. And I was like, when I was shooting, I was like, I kind of noticed that my audio meter was just hitting into the reds. And then when I finally stopped to like take a listen, listen back to my playback, I was like, oh no, this is garbage, man. I don't think people will like this. I'm worried I shouldn't upload this. I was about to give up and not even upload our latest vlog. But then she was like, you know what, who cares? Just keep it casual. Just keep it easy. It's a vlog channel. It's supposed to be not perfect. Just do it. And I'm like, all right, okay, we were talking about it in the virtual green room. It's just sometimes you just kind of throw it up there and just kind of hope for the best. Maybe no one will watch it, but that's sort of like the lesson that I kind of also want to present to you guys is like, don't worry too much about the technical aspect as one person sharing to another. If it's just not perfect, put it up anyways. And to my surprise, no one yet has commented on the audio. So
well, we did leave a disclaimer in the video where we're like, we're really sorry this audio portion is super bad. Please excuse it. And no one has said anything. So
here's the thing, the reason why she brought up that I'm a stickler for audio is because sometimes when she's listening to a podcast or she's watching a vlog and I just hear it in my ears, the piercing echoes or like
the clicks
and the fuzzes and the statics. And I'm like, oh man, how do you watch this? But these are the same channels that have 10 times the views that I have. So definitely do not get too caught up with the audio. With just crispy clear audio, as long as it's like audible enough and it sounds decent enough, I would say just roll with it. So a lot of the cameras that we were talking about today, the ZV-1, the ZV-E10,
this is
I was making fun of the fuzz, but you know what, this is really helpful because look at this. Cover your face. The little mic grill right here. And, Sony really just kind of took the time to make the audio on the ZV-1 and the ZV-E10 to be a little bit different from what you would get from your other point and shoot cameras or the bigger Sony cameras. So the audio here is going to sound really good without a mic. But for us, for me, I personally do like using a shotgun mic because it's a little bit more directional. As you can see from our screenshot right here, this is the same mic that I use. So getting a shotgun mic just allows you to be a little bit more honed in to your voice. That way it just doesn't capture the audio that's around wherever you are.
Yeah,
maybe less of a deal if you're shooting indoors, but especially when you're shooting outdoors, there's a lot of noise right now. We're in New York. There's like ambulance going by, the wind and all that stuff. So having a shotgun mic would definitely improve your audio. But again, stuff like this with a little fuzz right here blocks out the wind, does the job.
I personally use this like onboard one, and I've had no issues really, I think, with it.
And hot tip. I think if you watch some of your favorite YouTubers, maybe they have admitted once in their life where they would just hide inside their closet full of clothes and they would bring their little camera or their microphone in and they would just record voiceovers for their videos. So you can definitely just take something like this, dial in your audio settings, go into the closet for like an hour, do all your voiceovers or taking a shotgun mic, and you'll have some clean audio. So a hot tip for you guys is just, if the audio does end up being really, really bad, where you just know people will turn off, don't throw away the footage. Keep the footage in your video and just be like, hey, I want to do a voiceover for this section right here. I think we were watching a vlog yesterday where someone was eating at a sushi restaurant and she was like, there's so much copyrighted music being played right now, so I can't upload the audio. But what I would do is I would do a voiceover talking about the sushi that I'm eating.
She was very honest about it. And I think it just makes your life easier. We personally ourselves on the channel, we do voiceover, a lot of voiceover, because sometimes, when we're out, like maybe we have lines to deliver, it gets a little bit tough, or like
especially with the wind.
Yeah, when there's wind or there's like people or music, and we're just like, let's just do a voiceover. Yeah, just make our lives easier.
Yeah, so don't get too tripped up with the audio. I would say, especially you can always do a voiceover for your video later.
Love it. Excellent. Thank you so much.
All right, we do have one more little thing to talk about, but please, if there's any questions, let us know. So finally, we talked about finding your niche, honing into your niche, fostering curiosity. And I think we've kind of sprinkled this throughout the entire conversation, but it's growing a community. At the end of the day, when you make these vlogs, you want to be able to share it with people, like-minded folks who want to watch your videos. So I think in the virtual green room, we were talking with Scott how he likes to watch CrossFit vlogs.
I don't know if he wanted us to broadcast that out to everybody.
Oh, is that okay? I'm sorry.
That's it. You put it out there to the world.
It's out there now. I apologize. But let's just say, Scott's just inspired to make, CrossFit vlogs, and what he can do is he can share some of that journey that we were talking about, right? Maybe, he's not an expert at it. He probably is, but I'm just, saying, an off chance, he's not, he's sharing that journey with, his audience in his video. He can share that sort of video with the community, whether it's a Facebook group or a Discord channel. So a lot of what I used to do is I would join, Sony photography groups, Sony camera groups, and then I would sort of just kind of watch what the conversation is happening in the group. Maybe there's a certain question that keeps getting asked over and over again. So I would take the idea, make a video about it, and then post it into the group saying like, hey, I know a lot of people are having certain troubles with this lens or the settings. Here's my video on it. And that's sort of how I grew my community as well, just kind of finding other like-minded folks to share my video with. And I do want to emphasize, don't go into these groups and just spam your channel and spam what you do. You really want to be able to be a figure in your community, be the helpful person, or be the person that kind of like helps, contributes back to the group. So that is definitely one way to grow the community. And as we talked about, throughout the whole video, it's that relatability too. So because, if you have these relatability in your videos, that's how you get more and more people to tune into your video and create this community on your channel in the comment section where you'll just see the same names come up to talk to you, to converse with you. So that's one powerful thing, the 3 things that we would recommend: finding your niche, fostering curiosity, and growing a community.
Yeah. And I think if you are also making a channel that maybe isn't necessarily like really honed in on like a topic like Facebook groups and things like that, I think a little bit about who you want to kind of target or who you want to reach, right? The kind of videos that you want to make, maybe you just want to share it with your friends and family. It's just for memories, or maybe you really want to connect with people in your age group or something like that. I would say find these communities where you think these people might be. I think I personally, I joined this Discord recently with a lot of Asian American women, and there's a lot of girls in there that are just like, hey, I just want to share with you my YouTube channel that I just started. It's really just documenting my journey. I'm here to just document my day-to-day life in New York City, or just talking about maybe the job that I do. As you can see, these are all very different topics, but it really touches upon one larger community, and just really kind of promoting yourself in there and just kind of sharing that. I think is also really helpful too as well.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to make the video and just let it sit there. If you can kind of help, put into the right eyeballs, you definitely should.
Yeah, be open with sharing. Don't be afraid to also tap into your own community. If you have your own Instagram or Facebook, share the videos that you're making on there, because you also want people within not only new community, but also within the people that now to kind of get an eyeball on it. And, we personally put these photos on here because this is, I think, what really drives us to kind of keep making these videos, and what's keeping us really inspired with traveling and things like that. It's because we have personally really met a lot of the people that watch our videos, and it's really interesting because we form a lot of really interesting relationships with people that are so creative and are doing such interesting things, but we're all gathered around one passion or one hobby. And we have made some of our closest friends on the platform too as well. And I think it's really having that community to kind of help drive and keep our motivation going too as well.
So let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, I do. I got more. I got more for you. So let's talk about the other side of things, because you discussed a lot of stuff. We discussed shooting, and we discussed the video aspect of it. We discussed the audio aspect of it. We discussed a lot of content ideas and things like that. And I definitely implore people, before I ask this question, I implore people still to go out there into YouTube and check out some people's vlogs, because I know from my own personal journey, we were talking about it previously in the virtual green room, that I've thought about creating my own vlog and stuff like that. And so I've ventured into the world of YouTube and vlogs and checking out other people's pages, and a lot of times I find tons of great information, and it usually helps me out. But you guys are here, and so I'm going to utilize YouTube because, like they say, from the horse's mouth, right? So how do you guys go about editing all of this video that you put together?
So now here comes a good plug. Here comes a good plug. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready with my pen.
We did a whole vlogging series, getting started with vlogging series with Sony.
There we go.
Boom. Right there. Oh, you see that in the corner? How to edit and optimize your vlogs.
Just a full disclaimer, by the way. I did not know that this slide was in the deck over here. I had no prior knowledge. I really asked this out of curiosity because I want to know. I want to know. There's
Yeah.
just so much out there. Adobe, Final Cut, blah 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 blah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So, I guess if we're talking about editing software, I mean, there's Premiere Pro from Adobe, and there is Final Cut as well. But a lot of the vlogs that I think is really interesting is outside the community space. I think like you watch a lot of vlogs that were edited on iMovie.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because like you kind of mentioned like watching vlogs on YouTube, but we kind of want to say there's a lot of platforms for vlogs now too, not even just like YouTube videos itself. And a lot of people I watch on like TikTok and Instagram reels, they just edit on their phone.
Yeah,
like, they just use some like either iMovie or some sort of software on their phone to kind of edit videos too as well. So I think there's just a lot of different ways.
But if we're talking about YouTube, I would say like I think if you're a Mac user, you have iMovie. I don't know what's.
You have iMovie.
Huh?
I think iMovie comes with the Macs, right?
Yeah, it does come with the Mac. So I'm saying for Windows, though, I don't know what comes
with
Windows
Movie Maker.
Is that still
quick
even
time
a thing?
player? QuickTime Player.
No.
Wait,
I don't know if that's the thing.
I don't remember. I remember using Windows Movie Maker, but again, there's Adobe. Adobe has Premiere Pro, and they also have a very user-friendly version called Adobe Rush as well. So whatever you can utilize. I know video game, YouTube content creators love to use Vegas as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
there's like DaVinci. There's a lot.
Actually, you're right. There is DaVinci Resolve has a free, a free program. Free.
Is it free?
It's free.
I think so.
They have a free editing program that you can use. You can obviously subscribe for the more pro version, but just to get started, DaVinci has their own thing as well. So definitely check out DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah. I will shamelessly plug that I have downloaded DaVinci Resolve, and it's pretty good. It's good. I mean, I was able to figure it out. So that says a lot. I am not video editing inclined at all. That's not my strong point. So no, I'll just put it out there. Now, we've talked this whole time. You guys, I'm trying to help you out over here. You're not helping me out. You talked this whole entire time about putting out a vlog, about your vlog, about all the stuff you do in your vlog, but how do people find your vlog? Where are you? What's your vlog? What's your channel name? How do people check it out?
I was like, how's he getting? What kind of question? Where's he getting? I was like, where are you going to?
So you can find us right here. Oh, you have a slide for that too.
I do. I prepare. We're in sync. We are so in sync, and he doesn't even know any of this. It's really
I really did not know that this was coming up. These are just real questions. Listen, this is a partnership here, and you're providing great information for our customer base, and I think it's important. We're building a community, and that's something we always talk about here on the event space is community, and we want people to understand and know that that's exactly what we're doing over here. We're trying to build a community that empowers each other, that shares information with each other, versus the old mentality where everybody feels like it's a rat race and you've got to beat everybody. So just as you're helping us out, we want to help you out and make sure people are taking advantage and going and visiting your stuff and being able to check out the content. So share away, let them know.
All right. Sometimes I just get too caught up. I just want to help people. Just like, I just
love helping people.
Come on. I want to help you make your vlog.
But no,
I only have this last French fry. But you know what? You have it. You have it.
Please, I insist. But no, I mean, we kind of touched upon, we do have this longer course. Definitely can look that up. It's on, I think, the Sony YouTube page. And then we ourselves have, this is the link to our socials as well. So if you're interested in finding out more, please check us out.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, Jason, Vivienne, I've learned a ton. I've had a great time with you guys. You guys are a ton of fun. And I'm personally, after this, I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to do it. So you'll get an extra subscriber. I'm going to go there. I'm going to follow you guys on all that stuff. I'm a big believer in that. So make sure everybody who's tuned in and watching this, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, make sure you go give them a follow, a share, something, support each other, get out there. That's what we're doing all this for. Any last parting words from you guys?
I would say, I guess my parting word is don't get too hung up on your first video. I would
Mhm.
say,
Don't get
whatever.
hung up on the numbers either.
Don't be chasing after the numbers. Make the vlogs that you want to see. And especially that first video, I know it's going to be the hardest one to upload. And like I said, I botched the audio for my last vlog, but you know what? Just upload it anyways, because you will always be finding things that you can do better next time. So do it better in the next video.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you, Jason and Vivienne, for being here again. I want to give a huge thanks to our sponsors over at Sony for setting this up. Great partners of ours, great sponsors of events. So thank you so much to them. And of course, as always, I know I say it, I know I sound like a broken record, but I really mean it. Thanks to everybody at home who watch this, who make this possible, who let me, do this, have fun with great people and interact and learn tons of great stuff. So thank you guys most of all. As you know, this has been another edition of the B&H Virtual Event Space. We'll catch you next time.